put a wah-wah at the end of it. Hello, everyone. How you doing? To all those who are of that era, George Harrison, wah-wah, the wah-wah was the big thing, Peter Frampton, a lot of them. Greetings, everyone. Favor be unto you this day from on high. May it fall upon you like a rain that soaks in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, nothing missing, nothing broken. Hello, everyone. Hey, Brian. Hey, I haven't seen you, Lois, in a while. How are you, my dear Cajun Queen? Tarot and Nina the Mystic, Truth in Me, Susie Q, David Berry. Brother, I know it was hard with your mom, but hey, she's rocking and rolling, babe. I mean, dude, she's having a good time. And but glad you're here, and we just speak joy to you. Lady Gray Raven, hello. Katie did. Hello, how are you doing, Rebecca? Jace, Material Classified, how you doing? Hey, forgot to read. Trina and I just got into so much yesterday. Wow. So, well, let's see. Let's stop that. It's like seeing yourself, There we go. That was the one. All right. Got to read this. I mean, it's almost like if you don't, it's like, wow, I should have said it. Let's just read this together. All favors will come upon us and overtake us if we give voice to them each day. Favor will be with us in the city, and favor will be with us in the country. Favor will heal our bodies when we speak favor into your bodies. Remember, your body is a spirit, folks. It has its own spirit apart from your own. We'll get into that, by the way, today. Favor will set apart our children, our animals. Our ground is favored with abundance and joy. Favor will be on our food and our water and our pantry. Favor will walk with us when we come in, and favor will walk with us when we go out. Think about that one. Favor will cause our enemies to be at peace with us, spiritually as well. Favor will be upon our barns and storehouses, where we keep our valuables to prosper and be in safety. Favor will be upon us in everything we undertake. Everything we set our hand to, favor shall cause it to prosper. Favor shall be upon all our material property and shall cause it to last longer and not break. Favor shall protect us, our offspring, our possessions from calamity. Favor will lead us to good fortune in all things. Favor will cause us to be the head, not the tail. Favor will cause us to come out on top every time and not beneath. Favor will cause us always to be above and not below. Favor will cause us to have favor with the elements. Favor will cause us to have favor with the spiritual realm. Boy, this is going to come in handy today. Favor will cause us to be favorable to everyone we meet. That's cool. They will see us with favor. Favor will seek us out. And as we say, it will be created in my words, and what was said has been done. That's it, baby. That's all I got to say. So, I hope you're doing good today. I know so many of us are, having some difficult time. Everyone knows Kaz Hawk, who is a part of this community. She's been on here several times. Her mother just suddenly became ill. She sent me an email, and so to ask for your prayers, thoughts, sending her mother energy. This is sucking the life right out of her, in essence. It came on quick, and it has spread all through her body. And what we're going to learn today is her life force is being depleted. And we're going to learn today about the organs that actually can pull down on that. So, Kaz, we just love you, and we uphold you and your family, your mother, and we just speak to her with love, with favor, and healing. And it's a path, and Kaz, we'll do everything that we can. Let your mother know that there are a group of people here that very enlightened that send their love too. A lot of people are facing difficult challenges, and I have a sense, it may get more intense. Tonight, if you want to hop on over to the artistfirst.com network, 8 o'clock Mountain Time, 10 p.m. East Coast, 7 Pacific. We're going to be talking about what will you do when they lock the doors. And folks, it's going to be a good one. So how the heck are you? Got a lot of stuff to cover here, and I just want to say thank you for all of you coming in. This is serious stuff. We're learning things here that you're not going to find. It's not going to be the comedy channel, it's not going to be the channel where stupidity reigns and non-mind numbing nonsense goes on. Here we study because I can say this probably for the vast majority that I know that I see here all the time. We're preparing. We love life in this realm at times. We experience it for whatever it is, but we're also very much aware of that this is a corporeal, temporal world existence. And it's just that. We're going to be over there. That's where we belong. This is just a sojourn's path. That's all it is. So, 8/8/19, that's the date today. That's a good date. And hello, Rolling Stones. They're in Denver. All right, let's get right down to it. I have a book on PDF that for those of you, let me just say this. Why is it that most people are afraid of the spirit realm? Here's the illogicalness of that construct. We are spirits. Technically, this is the spiritual realm as well. It's just in a different dimension. And how we got here, why we're here, listen, that's why we study this. No absolutes are stated here. We're learning. There can't be any absolutes but to say that there is an originator, creator, however you want to term it. It's certainly none of the gods of this world, I can tell you that. But let me just ask you this. Why are you afraid of the spirit realm? Why is it that we're taught, don't do that. Oh, no. It's because it's been carefully designed and programmed for you to be afraid. And here's the question. If you're already a spirit, well, that means no matter how you look at this, you're going to be a future spirit in that realm. True? Show me the illogicalness of that statement. So if that is true, then why would it be forbidden for you to connect over there? I mean, why can't you make a long distance phone call? Hey, I just want to check in with y'all, let you know that this journey sucks. No, So, look at the graph I put up for this show. Look at it. That is probably the most, in my opinion, just my opinion, an opinion is between ignorance and knowing, probably the best depiction of what a homecoming is going to be. All of us are going to be apparently immersed into a healing ritual. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Babies are doing the same thing. So if you're being taught to be afraid of the spirit realm, then aren't you being taught to be afraid of yourself? what moron, what idiot would believe that? I did for years. Yeah, did for years. No. Bought it hook, line, and sinker. It's all false. In fact, I've been reading this book here. I've told you I've gotten the Lesser Key of Solomon. This is a dark book. It really is. It's a terrible book. And I'll tell you why. The magic that's in this book is of such a putrid nature because it invokes the God of the Bible. This God of the Bible it's a terrible being. How can a being that's supposedly all-knowing endorse evil? So much so that he allows these evil energies to feed off of us. Oh, it's all in here. I don't recommend this book. I'll just tell you this. I just don't. This is a book. You have to be mentally hard up here to deal with this book because this book paints a different picture of Yahweh, Jehovah, the Elohim. Whereas this book, great book, by the way, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, is really about, for the Egyptians, and that's where all religion came from. The Christianity is nothing more than a variant offshoot of Egyptian mythology. It's where the Hebrews got theirs. And when you read this book, it's got a lot of spells. They had a different view of the afterlife. But the contrast between the Solomonic magic and the Egyptian magic is, wow. I mean, it's very contrasting. So I have a little treat here for those of you who collect these ebooks that are so great. This book is Owen Davies' Grimoires. It is a beautiful book. It is, in fact, I'll pull it up here for you so you can see the actual cover on it. It's there we go. It's a wonderful read, and I'll tell you why you should have this in your library. This book brings out the history of how we've been deceived, how we have been purposely, and particularly when you look at this within the last 400 years, particularly. Hold on a second, folks. They are doing military exercises over my house. You may hear that in the background. Anyway, we'll let that pass. That this book documents, and we're going to get into more of this book on how we have been systematically lied to by Catholicism, by Christianity. The Bible, in its current state today, is a book of black magic, and this shows it. If they had included the whole books, we would have a whole different view on God, on the structure of things. Yeah. I like how he writes, and I'll just highlight it because we got a lot to cover here. He starts off and he says, what are the most dangerous books in the world? Some might nominate the founding text of our major religions, which through misinterpretation and manipulation have led to the suffering of millions over the centuries. Others might point to the defining modern political works of Karl Marx, Hitler's Mein Kampf, Chairman Mao's The Little Red Book. Fiction can also be gravely offended in the public sensibilities. The burning of the books that was just here recently, the Satanic Verses and Harry Potter books. People are freaking burning Harry Potter books. So, and it goes back. We don't understand what they've done. And this has been a controlling effort. The burning of books has been a way to hide what we have been mistakenly always looked at as magic. It goes on to say that the grimoire has a familiar ring to many people, particularly following popular shows like Teen Witch, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Charmed. But few people are sure what it means. And my computer spell checker certainly does not know what to make of it. Put simply then, grimoires are books of conjuring and charms, providing instructions on how to make magic objects such as protective amulets and talismans. They are repositories of knowledge that such as that arm people against evil spirits and witches, heal their illnesses, fulfill their sexual desires, divine and alter their destiny, and much else besides. Grimoires are books of magic then, but not all books of magic are grimoires. For as well we shall see, some magic texts are concerned with discovering and using the secret. Now this is where Agrippa comes in, of natural science, the world, rather than being based on congregations of spirits, power of words, or ritual creation of magic objects. Now this book that we'll get into, if you want it, please, you should have it. We're going to go into it in a later show of how it literally, folks, will show you how they did it, how they corrupted it. This thing that we have been taught to fear, communicating with spirits, communicating with the dead, making inanimate objects powerful, invoking spells, curses. We never understood this. But every religion, and you can check this out for yourself, is in fact nothing more than an ideology of magic. Spirit conjuring, yeah. Communicating with the dead, yeah. If you're not talking to an angel or a saint that's crossed over, right? Mary, John, I mean, you know, they've got thousands of idols, the Catholic Church, Christian Church, all of them. And what the hell are you talking to? What are you praying to? Dead people. But we're taught that that's somehow wrong, evil, if you do it outside the venue of the poor bastards who don't know what they're doing, but they have to go like lemmings to be herded to understand how to wipe their butts when you know how to do it automatically. Yeah, blatant, isn't it? I know. Sometimes it has to be that way, doesn't it? All right. Let's get into where we left off in our understanding of the book. Now, again, this PDF in Chapter 7, this is the spirit books. Now, there's two different books. There's one that is on Kindle that I haven't been able to find on PDF, and then there is this one. And this one actually is good. I mean, it's a good read. It should be there. And I want to use this as an intro as we get into the next part, because we got some exciting stuff that we're going to read, what the spirits are saying. Remember, these they call themselves the superior spirits. And yeah, someone wrote and said, well, this book doesn't resonate with me. Fine. Don't listen. You know, no one's forcing you here. I mean, if it doesn't resonate with you, go on and go watch something else. All right, let's go. Many persons regard the opposition of the learned world as constituting, if not a proof, at least a very strong presumption of the falsity of Spiritism. We are not of those who affect indifference in regard to the judgment of scientific men. On the contrary, we hold them in great esteem and should think it an honor to be in their number. But we cannot consider their opinion as one being under all circumstances necessarily and absolutely conclusive. When the vortices of science go beyond the bare observation of fact, when they attempt to appraise and to explain those facts, they enter tipton the field of conjuring. Each advances a system of its own, which he does his utmost to bring into favor, and defends with might and main. You see, folks, we're all guilty of this. All of us have a natural bias. We're taught this from children. And as you become indoctrinated in a particular theology, ideology, political ideology, religious ideology, whatever it may be, you have already closed the door. You're biased. And everything that you will seek out, everything that you will think about will come through those biases. And it's very difficult to strip them out. When you get close to death, you find out. And there are those who carry them over. As my wife was telling me, they, on the other side, they've got some real cases. Anyway, these divergent systems brought forward and rejected, one after the other, now cried down as absurd errors, and now cried up as incontestable truths. Think about the science that we know today when we look back 200 years, 100 years. We look at them as fools, foolish, ignorant. But in their day, they were the geniuses, the masters. And here's the thing. Their presence is still integrated in what we think. Facts are the sole criterion of reality, the sole argument that admits of no reply is this: in the absence of facts, the wise man suspends his judgment. Ba-ba-ba-bum. That should be something that we repeat over and over again. Because I contend none of us have the real facts. Now we're going to break off there. We're going to continue because these little nuggets is what I call them, really bring out the challenge that we all face. And I contend the more we get it resolved here, the more we're going to be able to dance over there. Seriously. All right. Here we go. All right. Now, oh, I can't get you there because I have to go back here. Oh, folks, you're going to dig this. I mean, this is some cool stuff. All right. As you know, we had left off with where we had come to the account of creation. And we had talked about yesterday that different populations of Earth have formed contrasting ideas about creation, depending on their degree of scientific advancement. Reason, supported by science, recognizes the implausibility of some theories. The explanation given by the spirits confirmed the theory that has long been recognized by the most enlightened people. Arguments against this theory are that they contradict sacred text. However, when we examine these statements carefully, they show us that this contradiction is more superficial than genuine. It results from the interpretation that has been given to allegory expressions. Adam was widely regarded as the first man and sole ancestor of the human race. Now, folks, I'm just going to inject this point. I have asked people this all the time, and many of them have left. So which genus of the Homo sinned? Sapiens sapiens? Sapien? Neanderthalis? Cro-Magnus? I mean, where do we go here? See? But don't be so quick to disregard either. At one time, the movement of the earth so blatantly contradicted the Bible that every type of criticism imaginable was fired against it. Despite this, the earth continued to move in its orbit, and people today couldn't possibly object to the fact without jeopardizing their own sanity and credibility. The Bible also states that the world was created in 6 days and established the date of creation about 4,000 years before Christ. According to the Bible, Earth did not exist before that time and was created out of nothing at the time of creation. Yet science has undeniably proven otherwise. The history of the Earth is irrefutable, written in fossils, proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that the 6th day of creations are successive periods, epochs. It's literally what the word is, epochs, each of which may have been millions of years. This is not a matter of opinion, but a fact that is as indisputably certain as the movement of the earth, and one that theology itself can no longer refuse to acknowledge. This admission provides yet another example of the errors we commit by attributing literal truths to figurative language. Should we conclude that the Bible is one giant error? No, but we must admit that people have definitely blundered in its interpretation. Science, in studying the geological records of the earth itself, has determined the order in which the different species of living beings appeared, and this order matches the sequence indicated in the book of Genesis. The main difference is that Earth was created according to the laws and action of the forces of nature over millions of years. It did not spring miraculously from the hand of God in a few days and was not formed by the whim of a divine will. Does this eclipse God's power or strength? No. Is the result of creative energy less sublime when it does not happen instantaneously? Of course not. And anyone who does not recognize the magnificence of the divine in this evolution of eternal laws is quite foolish. Science, far from diminishing the glory of divine power, shows us that action from a more sublime perspective is consistent with our notions of God's power and majesty precisely because the work was carried out without disregard for the laws of nature. Modern science, in agreement with Moses, states that humanity appeared last in the creation of living beings. However, Moses places the Great Flood as having occurred at 1654 years after the creation of the world, while geology shows that the great natural disasters occurred before the appearance of human beings. To date, the earliest strata contains no traces of humanity's presence, nor that of the animals coexisting with it. Nothing conclusively established that this is impossible, since many discoveries have already raised questions about this. It is possible that at any moment the material, certainly of the anterior of the human race, might come to light, showing us that in this case, as well as others, in biblical texts portrays an allegory. The question to be examined here is whether the Great Flood is the same suffered by Noah, or if the amount of time required for the formation of sedimentary layers and rock formations containing fossils does not allow this conclusion. If eventually traces of the existence of human beings before the Great Flood are discovered, it is evident that either Adam was not the first man, or that his creation dates back closer to the dawn of time. There is no arguing against the fact if supporting evidence is found. This fact would have to be acknowledged in the same manner that the movement of the earth and the 6 periods of creation were also acknowledged. The existence of humans before the Great Flood is still hypothetical. However, the same argument cannot be made against the following considerations. In stating that human beings first appeared on earth 4,000 years before Christ, and if the entire human race, with the exemption of a single family, was wiped out 1,650 years later, that means that the populating of the earth dates back only to Noah's time. Okay, follow the math, which is only 2,350 years before Christ. However, when the Israelites relocated to Egypt around 1800 BC, they found the country to be very densely populated, advanced civilization. History also shows that at the same time, India and various other countries were also populated and flourishing, not to mention other nations that claim to date back further in time. We must therefore presume that from 2400 BC to 1800 BC, that is 600 years, the descendants of a single individual were able to populate every known country, and even those were unknown, which we have no reason to believe, were devoid of inhabitants. Do you see the trickery, the spell? Let's continue. We must further presume that humankind was able to evolve from being unaware to the highest degree of intellectual development in this brief stint of time, which completely contradicts anthropological theory. The diversity of the human race supports this opinion. While differences in climate and lifestyle clearly change the physical characteristics of humans, we know the extent to which these adaptations may occur as a result of these influences. Physiologically, examinations conclusively proves that there are fundamental differences between the races that are too great to have been caused by climate differences alone. The crossing of races diminishes extreme characteristics by creating new varieties rather than reproducing the extremes. This process presupposes the existence of separate races. But how can this be explained if all of humanity can be traced back to a single ancestor and a short period of creation? How can we deduce, for example, that Noah's descendants in such a short time had transformed into Ethiopians? Such a metamorphosis would be as implausible as a wolf turning into a sheep, a beetle into an elephant, or a bird into a fish. No preconceived opinion or belief system can resist the evidence of facts. If we believe that humans existed before the most widely accepted time of creation, that there is a diversity of origins, that Adam lived 6,000 years ago populating a country that until then had been uninhabited, that Noah's flood was a logical catastrophe mistaken for a great geological disaster, and if we make the proper allowances for the allegory expressions that are characteristics of the Eastern style and common to the sacred texts of all religions, every difficulty disappears. This is why it is important to be careful in literally interpreting figurative statements or belief systems, which, like so many others, could someday enjoy a retraction from those who currently oppose them. Religion, rather than fearing the discoveries of science, should allow itself to be bolstered by it. This union is the only way that religion can arm itself against skeptics. I read that whole thing because it's so vitally important, folks. We're learning here. Many of us are rebuilding our inner cores. They were shattered when we realized the religion that we were in was a falsity, a charade. Nothing more than a Godspell. And that's what it was and is. All right, so let's get into this whole thing of life and death. Organic, inorganic beings. We live in a reality where we think we're the only ones here. We're going to find out how wrong we are. Organic or inorganic beings. Organic beings are those that have an intrinsic source that produces life. Sums it up right there, folks. They are born, grow, reproduce, and die. Their organs are specifically adapted to carrying out the different activities of life in order to satisfy their needs and maintain their existence. Humans, animals, and plants are all organic beings. Inorganic beings possess neither vitality nor the power of spontaneous movement and are merely the aggregation of matter, such as minerals, water, air, and so on. Agrippa. Should have it in your library. A question. Does the same force unite the elements of matter in organic and inorganic bodies? Answer. Yes. The same law of attraction exists for all. Question. Is there any difference between the matter of organic and inorganic bodies? Answer. It is the same. The only difference is that in organic bodies, it is animalized. What is the cause of the animalization of matter? The union of matter with the vital principle. Question. Is the vital principle present in a specific agent? Or is it a property of organized matter? Simply put, is it an effect or a cause? Hermetics, folks. Answer. It is both. Life is an effect produced by an agent acting on matter. Without matter, this agent is not life, just as matter cannot be alive without this agent. It gives life to every being that absorbs it. Question. Spirits and matter are two essential elements of the universe. Is the vital principle a third? Answer. There is no question that it is necessary for the makeup of the universe, but its source is a special variation of universal matter. For you, it is an element like hydrogen or oxygen, which is not primordial elements because everything derives from the same foundation. Question. This statement seems to imply that vitality does not lie in a distinct primordial agent, but is a special property of the universal matter resulting from certain variations. Answer. That is a correct conclusion of what we have stated. Question. Does the vital principality reside in any bodies that we know? Its source is the universal fluid, which is what you call the magnetic or electric fluid, only animalized. It is an intermediary, the link between the spirit and matter. Question. Is that vitality principle the same for all organic beings? Yes, but adapted according to each species. This principle gives organic beings the power of initiating movement and activity. They are distinguished from inert matter by their ability to produce spontaneous movement. Inert matter can not be moved, but it does not initiate movement. It can be moved, but it does not initiate movement. Question. Is vitality a permanent attribute of the vital agent, or is it only developed by the functioning of the organs? Answer. It is only developed with a body. We have not established that this agent does not constitute life without matter. The union of the two is necessary for life to exist. Question: is it correct to say that vitality is dormant when the vital agent is not united with the body? Folks, this one blew me away. Yes, exactly. This is commentary for me. This is so interesting. It kind of really establishes the physical to the Roth, the breath, the spirit. It's a vitality. It's an agent. It goes on to say, the organs of the body together form a mechanism that is impelled by their intrinsic action or vital principle residing within them. The vital principles is the driving force of organic bodies. While the vital principle compels the organs in which it resides, the functioning of those organs further develops and sustains the activity of the vital principle in the same manner that friction develops heat. Here's what we've been waiting for today. Life and death. What causes the death of organic beings? Answer: the exhaustion of their organs. Question: would it be correct to compare death to the end of movement in a broken machine? Answer: yes. When a machine is out of order, it stops working. When the body becomes ill, life withdraws from it. Did you hear me on that one, folks? Question: why is an injury to the heart more likely to cause death than any injury to any other organ? Answer: the heart is a vital organ that keeps your body running. An injury to the heart is not the only type of injury that can cause death. It is just one of the gears essential to the smooth operation of the machine. Question: what happens to the matter and vital principle of organic beings after their death? Answer: inert matter decomposes and is used to form other bodies. The vital principle returns to the general mass. When the elements making up the organic being die, they blend in such a manner to form new beings, which in turn draws the principle of life and activity from the universal source. They absorb it and then restore it to that of the same source when they die. The organs, so to speak, are impregnated with the vital fluid, which enables all the body's components to actively communicate with one another when certain injuries occur and to restore functions that have been temporarily suspended. However, when the elements essential to the functioning of the body have been destroyed or too severely injured, the vital fluid is unable to restore movement that constitutes life, and the being dies. The organs react more or less powerfully upon one another, and their mutual action results from their harmony. When this harmony is destroyed or interrupted in any matter, their functions cease just as a machine stops when its essential parts are out of order, or as a clock stops when its gears are worn out or accidentally broken, and in which there is no longer any motive force to keep it running. We have a better example of life and death in an electric device. Now remember, folks, this was written in 1853. The device, like all natural bodies, contains electricity in a latent state, but the electrical mechanism is only manifested when the fluid is set in motion by a special cause. When this movement is induced, the device is said to become alive. But when the cause of the electrical activity ceases, the mechanism ceases to occur and the device is once again inert. Organic bodies are like an electric device in which the movement of the fluid produces the phenomenon of life, and in which the accumulation of the movement results in death. The quality of vital fluid present in all organic beings is not the same. It varies in the different species of living beings. It is not always the same in the same individual or individuals of the same species. Some may be saturated with it, while others have only a very small quantities. Consequently, certain species have a more active and persistent life due to the abundance of vital fluid present in their bodies. The vital fluid contained in a given organism may be exhausted and become insufficient to support life, unless it is renewed by the absorption of substances that contain it. The vital fluid may be transferred from one individual to another. For those who possess copious amounts, it may be given to someone else who is deficient. In certain cases, this may rekindle a vital flame when on the verge of being snuffed out. This is so, well, you take it for what you receive. But to me, this is where the laying on of hands is so vitally important. Recently, a study came out that positive people who smile, who bring joy, love, who don't criticize, who see the brightness of the hope, they live longer. Their sleep has been documented to be more sound. Their organs, that I contend, ladies and gentlemen, they have more of this vital fluid. This could revolutionize how we perceive so much about who and what it is to be human. Let's continue. 71, question, Is intelligence an attribute of the vital principle? Answer, no. Since plants live and do not think they only possess organic life, intelligence and matter are independent of one another. A body may live without intelligence, but intelligence can only manifest itself through physical organs. Living matter can only be made intelligent when united with a spirit. I'm seeing physics in my head, folks. I'm seeing literally formulas. Intelligence is a special faculty belonging only to certain classes of organic beings that gives these beings the power to think, the will to act, the consciousness of their existence and individuality, and the means of establishing relations with the external world and fulfilling their unique needs. We may therefore distinguish the following: inanimate beings, solely matter, without life or intelligence, the bodies of the mineral world. Non-thinking living beings, made up of matter and endowed with vitality, but not intelligence. Living and thinking beings, made up of matter, endowed with vitality, and possessing an intelligent principle that gives them the faculty of thought. What is the source of intelligence? We have already told you. Universal intelligence. Question, is it correct to say that every intelligent being draws intelligence from the universal source and absorbs it, as it draws and absorbs the principle of material life? Answer, this would be an inaccurate comparison. Intelligence is a faculty possessed by each distinct being, which constitutes a moral individual. In any case, we have told you that there are things that human beings are unable to fathom. For the time being, this is one of them. Question, is instinct independent of intelligence? No. not exactly, because it is a type of intelligence. Instinct is unreasoned intelligence by which all beings satisfy their wants. Can a line be drawn between instinct and intelligence, precisely defining where one ends and the other begins? No, because they often blend together. However, the actions belonging to instinct and those belonging to intelligence are easily distinguished. Is it correct to say that the instinctive faculties taper as intellectual faculties develop? No, instinct always exists, but humans dismiss it. Instinct, like reason, may lead us to the right direction. It always guides us, and sometimes even more surely than reason. It never goes astray. When we begin to learn to trust ourselves? How many times have you made a decision that you knew was going to turn out bad? How many of you so mistrust yourself that when your spirit speaks, you can't even hear it? All right, question. Why is reason not always a foolproof guide? Answer. It would be if it were not corrupted by poor education, pride, and selfishness. Instinct does not reason. Reason provides freedom of choice and gives individuals free will. Instinct is a primary form of intelligence, differing from intelligence in that it is often spontaneous, while intelligence is the result of planning and deliberate action. Instinct can manifest itself very differently between species based on their needs. In beings that possess self-consciousness and the perception of things outside themselves, it is associated with intelligence, freedom of action, and will. All right, folks, we're going to end right that. That is the end of book 1. We will get into book 2 tomorrow. This is just far out stuff. I don't care what anyone says. I tell you, I'm not saying that this is, absolute, but you know what? I have set my butt in many a pew and many a chair for thousands of hours listening to some fool preach something that they knew more about than I did, but I believed it. And when I hear, as when I taught the Liber Lilith, all over the world, that book has been heard. It brings a new intelligence. It develops our intelligence. That's what this is about. Well, thank you, Mother Nature. Much love to you as well. Folks, this is going to change so many of us. It already has. When you read this and you just ponder it, and you think about this logically, why would you be afraid of the spirit realm? Only reason why is because you live in ignorance, and you choose to live in ignorance. To be afraid of something means that you lack the knowledge. We're here. It's time to learn to change our colors. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to going on the other side. I am working towards that color of favor. That's all I got to say, because it works and it's groovy, man. It's there, All right, folks. Thank you, Lost in Space. That appreciate that. Y'all humble me, man. I mean, I'm just, having a good time, and we're going to arrive differently on the other side. So many of us, and I can't help but not think that there are many spirits on the other side cheering this. I think they're partying. Maybe Jimmy is playing. I don't know. But I have a sense they're finally saying they're getting it. They're finally getting it. We love them. We miss them. We're happy they're over there. Yeah, life is what it is. But you know what? They recognize us. They're speaking to us now. We can help share. They can't intervene, but they can certainly help suggest, to guide. And it's not something that has to be ritual, black magic, circles and everything. That is hockey puck. You don't have to do that. You can learn to literally reach out where you are. And that's what I have found. I don't need a foreign God. I don't need some entity sitting there. Now, it would be foolish to say that caution would not be advised. Of course, caution is always advised. That's why you should get to know those who love you. Those are the ones who care for you, the ones that have tried to speak to you all your life. But you've been so hard-headed, determined to do it your way. And as many of us found out, it's bit us in the ass more times than not. Present company included. Me. When my aunt passed away and she came to my bedroom, I was a lad of just 5 years old. I should have focused more then. But we learn. And there's nothing, again, to be afraid of here. You are a spirit. You're a part of that world regardless. You're only here temporarily. So, all right, folks, we're going to continue to go. Thank you all. Much love to you. I'll see you if you listen tonight. Guarantee you it's going to be a good one. And if not, we'll pick up here tomorrow, folks. And this is great mind coitus. I don't care what anyone says. All right, bye-bye.